Part five, a little bit of into my life, some of my vulnerabilities. I got married at 27. One of the best decisions I think I ever done. I count as one of the best decisions ever done. I met my wife. She came to visit us. Me and I had been, I don't know, 3 months into church over there on Kennard. We was actually in the basement of Pastor Martha Hall's church. And I think her church was True Foundation. I feel like that's the name of her church. If it ain't, I'm sorry, but I think it was True Foundation. And I had preached for her a couple times, and it was like some platform services, what they call them. And that's where you got like multiple different speakers. They preach for like 10 minutes and stuff like that. And that's how I met people like Elder Fells, and I actually met Fells at the gas station at Kroger's, and then and stuff. And so I was just coming off of doing a lot of evangelism, and so I had got a job at Kroger's on Island Creek in Maine, and I worked there for about 4 years. I worked there for a while. I worked there for 4 years in the fuel center, and it allowed me to really connect with a lot of leaders and stuff in the city, from Herschelman Craig, who's the, I think at the time he was a councilman, and then certain preachers and stuff, because a lot of churches are nearby that way, and they would have me always work on Sunday afternoons or mornings sometimes, and I hated that. I couldn't get out of it. Now, when I tell you that story about Elder Smith coming to Kroger's and getting me off, that was my first stint at Kroger's. I had went back to Kroger's some years later when I got older, and so eventually we ended up working a deal out, because I was like, listen, this Sunday they ain't gonna work. I was gonna come late every Sunday. I'm gonna come late every Sunday because I'm coming from church, and at that time I didn't have my own church, so I couldn't dictate the time. So I'm a guest preacher, so if the Spirit of God is moving to church, they met to start at 10 or 9:30. It's black church, you know what I'm saying? You be there for 4 hours, and so I learned those type of things, man. So when my wife came, I'll never forget it. And at the time, I didn't know she was my wife. I just knew she was somebody special. And as time grew, I really admired her love for me. And so one of the greatest things that I learned about her was that when we did my first Easter service, I was really nervous because I had never preached Easter. I preached every scenario and places, but I had never preached the Easter service, and I didn't know what to anticipate or what. And we had a lot of visitors that day, like a lot of new faces that day. So, the person wanted to deliver. It's Easter. That's supposed to be like the Super Bowl of preaching, and like she had wrote a letter on a coat. She would always bring a bottle of Coke to the services, and I would later find a guy that told her to do that. And this touched my heart, because not I never really outside my grandmother had that, and that for me kind of was like the day I solidified and thought maybe this is somebody special. And so and we've been married now for over 8 years. But when you know, when God tells you, He tells you, and you have to trust God along the process and along the way. And I believe that God will move for you in that particular manner. And so to encourage somebody today, like, trust the Lord on those things, and watch what God will do.